Hello everyone, this is Highlander from MTG Cardsmith doing another custom Magic the Gathering card review, and today we're reviewing the Grinding Riddle, a card by Sweda. So let's see what we got going on here. This is a 3-mana blue enchantment or a curse. Okay. Enchant opponent. Cool. I keep staring at this guy's bald head. Is he bald or is he just wearing a little hat? It's kind of hard to tell, actually. It looks like he's bald. Or balding, I should say. Or no, he's like a monk, so this is like the monk haircut. Okay. At the beginning of enchanted player's upkeep, that player creates 4 clue tokens. At the end of enchanted player's turn, that player mills a card for each clue they control. When the Grinding Riddle leaves the battlefield, destroy all clues enchanted player controls. Okay. So this is the flavor of this is pretty cool, I think. The Grinding Riddle, I like it, right? It's like, okay, well, they're really trying to solve this riddle, and as they try to solve the riddle, they kind of go mad. The flavor is pretty cool on this one. Now, you are giving them essentially 4 cards here. Obviously not exactly, because you got to pay 2 for these clues. And then they mill a card for each clue they control. Okay, so this costs 3. So let's just think about how this card might play out if you play it on turn 3. So turn 3, you play this, and so presumably you haven't added too much to the board at that point, because you're probably not playing an aggressive deck if you're playing the Grinding Riddle, and you don't have any counter spells up or anything like that, right? So you just slam this thing down. Now on their next turn, they get 4 clues immediately, and they're like, sweet, 4 clues. So they, at this point, let's say you're on the play, they have 3 mana, so they can only sacrifice 1 of the clues. So let's say they do. Then they mill 3 at the end of their turn. So now they've drawn 1 and milled 3. And then it goes to your turn, and now, whatever, you do something. Goes to their turn. Now they have 7 clues. They can sacrifice 2 of them, which draws them 2 more cards, but now they still have 5 clues in play. And then so then they mill 5, and then on their next turn, they have 9 clues. They can still only sack 2 of them. And then now they like mill 7. This thing gets out of hand pretty fast. It feels to me like it's better to just not sacrifice the clues at all, because if you're just sitting there sacrificing clues, you're like kind of like okay, so if you sacrifice a clue, like, yes, you prevent it from milling you, but you're still drawing a card, so in a sense, like, it doesn't really help you that much. Like, yes, it'll sort of slow down this clock a little bit, because you're not going to be milled every turn by that clue, but, like, you're spending 2 mana there, and it feels like the best way to beat this card is just to be aggressive. It's just to try and kill the person who's sort of trying to grind you out with this mill card. I have to say, in Limited, this card seems busted. Like, I mean, okay, so let me figure some stuff out here. So on let's say, okay, so turn 1, you have 33 cards in your deck, and then okay, so let's say you're on the draw. Excuse me. So turn 3, you've got 30 cards in your deck, right? Because turn 1 you draw 1, turn 2 you draw 1, turn 3 you draw 1. Now you have 30 cards. in your deck, okay? Now you get 4 clues, and let's just say you don't sack them, and now you mill 4 cards, so you're at, you mill 4, and then you draw 1 on your next turn, so now you're at 35. Or excuse me, 25. 25 cards left, right? Now you've got 8 clue tokens in play, and essentially you mill 8 and draw 1, so now you go down 9. And now you've got 12 clue tokens in play, so now you go down. So this thing kills really fast. Really, really fast. Yeah, this thing kills very, very fast. And limited anyway. Yeah, this is kind of like a lose-lose for your opponent. I mean, if they sacrifice the clues, they're barely doing anything. Like, they're barely helping the clock. They are like, if they have ways to kill this thing in their deck, they are drawing towards it at least. But, like, they're also not doing anything else besides drawing cards. So, like, if you're casting other spells, which presumably you are, then that's bad for you, obviously. Imagine they put 2 of these on you, and there's just, like, no way you can win. Like, you just... This card seems a little bit too strong to me. Yeah, this card seems a little bit too strong, I think. It's just a very, very fast clock, and it's kind of like a no-win situation for your opponent, really. Like, there's not too many things they can do other than kill this thing, and when they kill it, you lose all your clues, of course. So, and of course, not some decks won't have any way to deal with this. So yeah, I find this card to be a little bit too strong. I think you could probably reduce the number of clues that player creates, or you could have the clues sort of ramp up, right? So it's like, at first, they only make 1 clue. Because again, if you play this on 3, and you're on the play, if they sack the clue, their next turn, they only have 1 mana to work with, right? So it's unlikely that they would. It feels to me like more like they would actually just play something on the board. So you could potentially have this card like ramp up in power, where it like starts at 1 clue, then goes to 2 clues, then goes to 3 clues, then goes to 4 clues, then goes to 5, then 6, and 7, then 8, and that might sort of scale a little bit better with the flow of the game. Because right now it's like this card just gets out of hand so fast, and it seems like it's bad for you to sacrifice clues. So, I don't think this accomplishes what you were trying to accomplish, which is like force, like you wanted to pressure the opponent to actually like put mana into sacrificing their clue tokens, but instead what you're doing is you're actually like with this card, to me it seems like you don't want to sacrifice the clue tokens, because you're still getting closer to getting milled out by sacrificing the clue, and you're paying 2 mana for each clue, which is like quite a bit, because they have to pressure you in order to beat this card or destroy it, right? But most decks are gonna have to try to pressure you, and it's impossible to pressure somebody if you're spending 2 mana to sacrifice clues, So yeah, I think this card doesn't really accomplish what you want, and I think it's just a little bit too strong. I think like reducing the number of clues that player gets per turn is a good start. It's definitely a good start. I think 4 is definitely too high. And you'll have to sort of do the math and figure out like what the optimal number is, because it sounds like you want your opponent to like have a little bit of counterplay to this by sacrificing their clues, and right now that's not really the case. So you'll have to find sort of the optimal way of doing that, So yeah, that's what I think about the grinding riddle. I think the design of this is interesting. I think it's definitely an interesting design, and it's very flavorful too, which I like. I just think that this card is is just too strong, really, the way it is right now. So I think if you modify this card a bit so that it's a little bit less, it doesn't mill as quickly, I think this could be an interesting card. So I'm going to give this one, I'm going to give this one, I'm going to go with a 7 out of 10. Okay, so again, I think the design is very interesting and the flavor are great, and I don't think I see any formatting issues with this card. Let me just read it again. That player creates 4 at the end of enchanted. Okay, so not actually, there is a little bit of an issue. There's this should say at the beginning of enchanted player's end step, that player mills a card for each clue that they control. Okay, but the rest of this is pretty good. The art's great. I love the art. It fits really nicely with it. The major issue with this card is just that it's too good. So I'll give it a 7 out of 10. But yeah, because I think you could have a really interesting card here if you just nerf it a little bit. So all right, that's my review of the Grinding Riddle. Thank you guys for watching.